we are giving an edge to the Congress.
Okay, I see Yashwant is with us. And Yashwant, I'll come to you in just a moment because we're just adding the ABP CVoter numbers on Madhya Pradesh, which have again kind of queered the pitch. We were just talking about a possible BJP win, as many polls suggest, for the BJP in Madhya Pradesh, and a big win for the Congress in Telangana. But we should add your numbers to this poll of polls. Can I have the individual slide, maybe with the ABP CVoter numbers added in the meantime? And then we can at least discuss Madhya Pradesh in the meantime. Yes. No, this doesn't have the ABP CVoter numbers. I need them added. Please, can we add them quickly? In the meantime, Bhavya, your comments and Sandeep's comments on the big picture. Bhavya? Bhavya is on mute. Can we unmute Bhavya? Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So about all the 5 states.
Well, right now we're on Madhya Pradesh. If you want to come in on Madhya Pradesh, this is what it looks like.
So when it comes to Madhya Pradesh, there are many factors we would like to tell why we are going to win. One of the factors is about how they treated, one of the mass leaders of Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan ji.
But the polls are not forecasting. The polls are not all forecasting a win for you. In fact, majority of the polls are forecasting a defeat.
Of course, exit polls are a good indicators, but that doesn't mean they're exactly what the results will be. We have seen that in the past, that exit poll can differ really to a large extent compared to the results. This time, we are very confident that we're going to win because of the guarantees and how the guarantees changed Karnataka's results and how we are very successful in implementing all guarantee programs that we promised to people of Karnataka.
Can I interrupt you? Before you get into what's going to happen in Madhya Pradesh, let me bring in Yashwant Deshmukh at this point. Yashwant, we had your numbers last of all, which we've just added to this slide. And Dilip was just saying moments ago that if the Congress wins Telangana but loses Madhya Pradesh, they will be absolutely devastated. Now, your numbers have added a new element to the mix, right? Because most of the other polls, and you can see them on your screen, are giving a clear victory to the BJP. Yours is the one poll that is giving the maximum number of seats to the Congress. How do we read this, Yashwant?
Well, Barkha, we can only comment on what we do and what we are doing and we are seeing,
Yes.
And largely speaking, because we run a tracker on a daily basis and we have been doing this for more than a year on a daily basis. And the exit poll trends are more or less continuation of the trend where we left the tracker a day before the 2 days before the actual polling happened. So for us, we are just confident about our numbers. As Manu, I was listening to Manu, he was telling about the regional variations. And when we talk about the regional variation, it is important to understand, Barkha, that there are saturation numbers even in the last election as far as the regional variations are concerned. BJP's strongholds of Bhopal and Malwa, they have been saturating those numbers. Similarly, the Congress strongholds of Bagelkhand or Nimar or for that matter Chambal, they had been saturating. Chambal was unique because of Jyotiraj Scindia switching over to the BJP, and it was a battle where we could have sensed that, okay, this is a place where if BJP manages to switch or snatch Chambal on riding on the popularity of Jyotiraj Scindia from the Congress, then this is something which, Congress is in a real problematic situation in Madhya Pradesh. But our numbers, at least throughout the year and right now, they didn't suggest. There were reports and there were suggestions that this Congress imports from the Congress were not going down well with the BJP's rank and file. So I think our numbers are pretty much in continuation what our tracker was finding, and we stick by that.
Okay, Yashwant, I know you're here on limited time, as is everybody else. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to go through all 5 states, the big picture. And then, sorry, Sandeep, you've been waiting. Before Yashwant does that, you want to get in a quick comment?
Oh,
okay, you can wait.
Okay, sorry.
Yashwant, you have to go. Yashwant, quickly, the big political picture looks like, we don't know, looks like a possible notwithstanding your own numbers, a possible BJP win in Madhya Pradesh, a comfortable Congress win in Telangana, a confusing picture in Rajasthan, right? A possibly hung assembly in Mizoram, and a comfortable Congress win in Chhattisgarh, notwithstanding the BJP improving its numbers. Big political picture from you. Quick comment before you have to go, Yashwant.
Very good. With due apologies to Sandeep, I'm sorry for pitching in there without out of turn. But largely speaking, Barkha, what I see that the mood for change across all the state got stunted by a good, brilliant comeback by everybody who is in power. And that is interesting to observe that elections have become way too close than what we were thinking they would be like. But definitely 4 out of 5 states, we sense from the data there should be a result in change of power, change of guard. And one state where it is likely to continue in our data as the same person in power.
So you don't believe only Chhattisgarh will keep the same party in power. You're not convinced of the
That
Congress.
also will be Chhattisgarh, by the way, is the closest of all 5. If you look into the gap of the vote share, that is the closest of all the 5. That is also the closest of all the 5. So Chhattisgarh on the counting day on the 3rd probably won't get cleared till late afternoon, late evening, because there would be at least 21 seats in Chhattisgarh, which will be swinging from here to there with every new round of votes that are coming in.
Right. So, Yashwant, stay as long as you can. Sandeep, let me bring you in on the big political picture. The takeaways are tough right now. The takeaways are tough because there isn't unanimity among many of the major pollsters. Yashwant, for example, is giving the largest number of seats of all polls to the Congress in Madhya Pradesh, but still predicting a close fight. Sandeep, just unmute yourself before you speak, and then Dilip, and then we'll come to the party spokespeople. Yes, Sandeep.
Barkha, my take as a distant observer is all these polls. Right now it could swing both ways because the margins or the predictions are very, very narrow. And and what I agree with Yashwant, there are no very strong incumbency or anti-incumbency factors in most states because I think the voters are looking at things a little differently. Unless there were, some places like we saw in UP last time when Yogi had a very strong incumbency factor. None of these other people, people are now seeing more or less it's a choice between similar kind. 19-20 ka sawal hai, and that sort of a thing, how voters are saying. Now, from my own sense, I'll comment where I have some knowledge. First of all, I like to comment on Rajasthan. And there I would tend to take the access poll with give lot of weightage to the access poll. My own assessment there is Congress can have an edge more so because of the contradictions inside BJP and the way they have handled many of their issues and ticket distribution, etc. A quick contrast, I would say, between Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan is in Madhya Pradesh, BJP finally managed to get Shivraj Singh on the right side, and so that he didn't play a spoiler. In case of Rajasthan, they may have neutralized Vasundhara, but they could not really get her to rally or mobilize for the party. And as a result, there have been very, very stark, problems on the ground, which I have seen for myself. And so I think, and this whole rebel candidates are going to be a big, and you see the rebel candidates factor. I was there, in fact, in Rajasthan on 25th and 26th. Yashwant, they are masters. If you see the turnout also, you'll find wherever there were rebel candidates, those constituencies had a very high turnout because the rebels managed to get people in. I'm personally familiar with one constituency, which is Chittor. It's a existing BJP MLA who's very strong. He was not given to accommodate Verashing Shekhawat's son-in-law because he had to be shifted from Jaipur where Diya Kumari was accepted. As a result, the Congress guy who was not originally contesting, he got his ticket at the last minute.
So you believe the BJP has botched its campaign in a sense in Rajasthan?
I think so. They didn't get it together. Whereas in Madhya Pradesh, while this whole close contest bit and Yashwant's general finding, I would have gone along with it. But there, my own sense and for whatever ground information I have is, apart from Shivraj making a comeback with his Ladli Yojana and everything
Yeah.
else, there have been a lot of side deals on the ground. And
Okay,
those
let me open this up. There's a lot of
I-
detail you've given us to talk about. Yeah.
one just last point, so
Yeah.
therefore this strategy of bringing the central leaders have bombed in Rajasthan, but in MP it will work because these people, for in their own interests, not to become irrelevant, they have pulled their weight to get some of those seats.
Okay.
And
Let me.
what I disagree or not disagree, I have a difference. I think Chambal and the Bhil Morena area, Gwalior area, may finally swing in favor of BJP because Jyotiraditya Scindia and to some extent Tomar, despite his because of his other problems, were under pressure to
Okay.
deliver those.
So sorry, I'm going to have to come in because Bhavya hasn't spoken, barely spoken yet. I have to go to the others as well. And Yashwant, I don't know how long we have you for, but Dilip first, you, then Yashwant, and then to the party spokespeople. Dilip, the Madhya Pradesh picture changes only slightly with Yashwant's vote, CVoter till the actual results come. At the moment, the state is still forecast to go to the BJP. The poll of polls, that is. Your big political takeaways right now? The North-South divide after Telangana if it goes to the Congress?
My big political takeaways are, look for what is the impact of the freebies. There has been a cascade of freebies both in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. The second thing is, look for how the Muslim vote banks have behaved in Telangana and in Rajasthan. Rajasthan not so much, but Telangana very crucial. I would say that any analysis which does not look at this is going to miss out on the longer term trends beyond these regional elections. So what I'm saying is that, when one looks at how these final results will pan out, we need to look at what is the electoral message for 2024 on freebies and how these so-called welfare schemes have worked Madhya Pradesh, qua Rajasthan. And the second thing is, as I said, to see how the minority vote has behaved in Telangana will also be interesting.
Yeah, Yashwant, when you were doing your opinion polls across states, what is the difference you find between those and the exit polls? Do you see any significant difference in the findings?
Well, actually, the trends got, it got more closer. That was the difference. But somehow we did not find a reversal of the entire thing that our tracker was suggesting. Yes, everybody fought it out. Like, what we talked about rebel candidates, for example. Our exit poll does suggest that there are almost as many as 14 others that are likely to win or are ahead in Rajasthan, for example. There are 30 other seats where they are runner-up or a close runner-up in that way, So there are 44 seats in Rajasthan where a non-Congress, non-BJP player is in a dominant position. That is like we are talking about every fourth seat in Rajasthan. Now, these kind of things, these kind of micromanagements of putting up the rebel candidates, and obviously, Barkha, generally the historically the idea had been that rebel candidates are being pushed by the opposition parties, but not in the case of Rajasthan. Rebel candidates are actually pushed by their own people, their own factions within the same party. So that is marking the waters in that way. So it's more of a lot of that kind of play into action.
Let me ask you the big political question. For the two big national parties, the BJP, of course, and the Congress that is at least vying for the leader of the opposition bloc, at the end of these state elections, going by these exit polls, what does the big picture look like, Yashwant?
I think the big picture for me is first of all that the idea of anti-incumbency is kind of no more legit and valid, and this we have been maintaining even in our pre-poll survey, that there is a sense of fatigue, but there is no sense of anti-incumbency against any of the chief minister. The only chief minister who was actually facing anti-incumbency was from Telangana. Otherwise, no chief minister was unpopular. And that is a very unique situation with all the Labharti Yojanas and the delivery of the governance. I guess that big number of leaders have cracked the formula of going back to the people and asking for a repeat mandate, and that is an interesting thing to observe. People may criticize Labharti Yojana on the economic front and all that. I am not going into that. I am only looking into the fact that voters are getting something from the governance, and whatever has been promised to them, that is being delivered to them. That is becoming
do you think a Congress defeat in Madhya Pradesh would be a bigger story than a Congress win in Telangana? Which way do you look at it? Because that's the point Dilip made.
I would agree with him. I would fully agree with him that, yes, Congress victory in Telangana would make a big news. I get that. But what Congress defeat in MP would mean is a systematic kind of destruction of Congress infrastructure in the entire north of India in that case. Because
Can I come in?
if they cannot win Madhya Pradesh after this much of anti-incumbency emotion on the ground, and then there is some problem with the party infrastructure. There is some issue out there, and that would be a much bigger concern. That should be a much bigger concern for the Congress, because BJP, please remember, BJP or Narendra Modi is not Prime Minister of India because he is winning seats from the south of India. He is Prime Minister of India. BJP is ruling India because they are winning the seats, huge number of seats north of India. There are approximately 200 seats where it is basically Congress versus the BJP. And these are the seats where Congress is to make a turnaround if they really wish to have a contest in 2024. So I agree with Dilip on that. Yes, Madhya Pradesh, losing Madhya Pradesh should be a much bigger concern for the Congress than winning Telangana.
Okay, give me a moment.
Can I come in?
Half a second. I want Dilip.
I just want to rebut on Yashwant.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Why don't we go, Dilip? I know we have 2 more minutes. I'll just go to Mr. Bhamla and then.
See, I would just say, that Congress has always been over projected in polls than in the actual performances, and we will see that in the forthcoming results also. And let me tell you that negative voting against the BRS, that negative voting will also split between the Congress and the BJP. Congress is not going to take the whole share. Let me tell you that BJP has 4 seats in the Lok Sabha from just North Telangana. So BJP in the Lok Sabha has been a very good performer even in Telangana. So I don't know how and why the BJP is like totally written off. But let me tell you the results. On the results day, the outcome of BJP, we may form a government or we may not, but that will be really shocking in terms of Telangana. You will have a really different narrative with Telangana.